We've been saying 28 struggling municipalities are breathing a sigh of relief as billions of rand, these are Eskom debts, will be written off. The Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, confirming this during his medium-term budget policy speech yesterday in Parliament. Godongwana saying government is considering more requests from the municipalities that owe Eskom. Emfuleni is one of them, owing a whopping 5.9 billion rand. And now that has been approved for debt relief. Let's get some detail now on what is going to change in that municipality, and let's speak to the MMC in Emfuleni, MMC of Finance, Hassan Mako. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin with whether the entire 5.9 billion that you owe to Eskom, is Treasury saying that all of that is going to be written off?
Good morning, Koli, and good morning to the viewers at home. Well, the 5.9 billion owed to Eskom obviously will be reduced in a 3-year term, which will mean each and every year the municipality meets the conditions of National Treasury and Eskom. The portion of the debt will be written off up until we're fully complied with National Treasury and the conditions that need to be applied.
Let's talk about those conditions. Part of what the minister said in Parliament yesterday was the enforcement of strict credit controls, including enhanced revenue collection. Do you think that as a municipality you will be able to meet at least some of these conditions?
It is not going to be an easy journey, but it's a conversation that we must have with our own communities in different areas. For them to allow us to introduce meters, which will also deal with the issues of distribution losses, which will assist us in as far as electricity consumption is concerned, for us to actually meet our current account, which is one of the conditions. So we are working on it. A conversation has begun with our consumers, and here and there is resistance, but we are definitely on the field as politicians, making sure that we do convince our residents that this is the only way that the municipality can be able to survive and deal with the Eskom debt once and for all.
What seems to be the challenge when it comes to your residents? Are you suggesting that they are not paying because they are able to pay, or they're not paying because they can't afford to pay?
Well, it's twofold. There are consumers that cannot afford to pay, especially in Emfuleni, given the current economic conditions that we are faced with. You would remember the COVID impact, but there are those that are just reluctant, and that is where we seriously need to apply our credit control. And well, of course, with those that are unemployed and cannot pay for their rates and taxes, we will ensure that we go on an indigent drive, so that we are able to compile their list and submit it to National Treasury for them to actually be excused when it comes to these particular conditions.
Well, one way, MMC, to test whether or not the residents are able to pay, or there are those that are finding difficulty in paying their bills, which ways are you able to test this, to say this resident at a particular home or street is unable to pay? What are the testing mechanisms?
We've opened our doors to say that those that cannot afford to pay should register as indigents. We'll put them in our indigent registers, and then we'll be able to make an assessment and submit to National Treasury. But for those that are able to pay, of course, there are records that will be submitted through verifications and stuff, and we will be able to pick it up that these residents are able to pay, and strict credit control measures must be applied if they are reluctant to pay. So basically, it's going to the field, verifying each and every resident and ensuring that we get the correct information as far as we are concerned as a municipality.
Talk to us about smart meters. This has been proposed as a possible solution to avoid people not being or refusing to pay, even those that are able to afford.
Yes, well, the installation of smart meters is one of the conditions, like I've just mentioned, that we need to meet. And, that is where we're getting resistance, because it was free for all. And unfortunately, the current dispensation, we need to have a conversation with our residents to say, this is the only way to go. Unfortunately, for the heart, which is Eskom, the heartbeat of the country, which is Eskom, to survive, this is the only route that we must go. And for Emfuleni local municipality to meet their deadlines, and as far as the debt is concerned, this is the only way that we'll be able to survive. And we've just wrapped up our IDP sessions, and this is what the executive mayor has emphasized in different communities.
So how are you able to ensure that these smart meters are installed? Perhaps the appropriate question to ask is, how many smart meters are installed in Emfuleni municipality, and how much more do you still have to go?
Emfuleni local municipality has 45 wards. It will be a ward-by-ward approach. There are areas where we've already been successful in installing those particular smart meters, areas like your Three Rivers, areas like your Vanderbijl Park. And we are engaging the ward councillors and community members in those areas to ensure that there is sufficient noise and there is no resistance from these communities, to ensure that we comply with whatever that is it that we need to comply with.
MMC, I imagine the laws are exactly that. It's a law. If a resident refuses for a smart meter to be installed in their home, what measures do you take against that person?
We will definitely have to apply credit control measures. It can't be correct that the resident will consume electricity for free. That time has passed. Our communities need to understand that we need to purchase electricity, and for a municipality to survive, it survives through the revenue that it will collect.
Final question to you, sir. What about the competencies of people that are employed in the municipality to ensure that the credit control measures that the Minister of Finance is talking about are adhered to? Are you confident that you have the right people in the right positions?
Look, there are weaknesses in local government, and ourselves as politicians, our role is to play an oversight role. And we'll definitely ensure that we close those particular weaknesses by playing our oversight role. And those that are not complying, those that are not doing what is it that they're supposed to do, consequence management will apply, without a doubt.
MMC of Finance in Emfuleni Municipality, thank you very much for your time.